Today, we're going to talk about why GaryVee's life advice for success and enjoying your life and being your best version of yourself is not working for you. We're going to talk about why it's not working for you, but we're going to offer a solution on how to start making it work for you using some of the techniques and tricks that I offer my clients that I do mindset performance coaching for. A lot of them are professional athletes, so this stuff works. So let's get into it. We've got 8 things that Gary recently shared that are mind-blowingly powerful. However, a lot of us aren't going to change as a result of listening to them. We will get motivated. We will get pumped. I did. I was super excited. It's like, wow, like who doesn't get motivated by Gary Vee, right? But the thing is, motivation is great, but it doesn't create change. It's got energy to it. It kind of revs you up. It maybe lifts your emotional state. But when it all comes down to it, change takes place when you start to look at the habits that you have and you start to restructure them. So we're going to use the power of habit. We're also going to talk about the power of perspective, imagination, emotion. We're going to pull it all together and we're going to go through these 8 topics that Gary recently covered that are so hugely important to living your best life, growing your business. And we're going to talk about how to turn them into real change, not just a little, oh, I'm so excited. That was great. That was great. 7 seconds later, right back to baseline. All right. And by the way, my name is Dr. Jay Kavanaugh of thevibemindset.com. I'm a mindset performance coach for professional athletes and amateurs too. Let's get into it. Number 1, curiosity and time. So here's an interesting thing. Recently, Gary had said that the one skill that we have or the one trait that we embody when we're young is that of being curious. Think about it. When you're a kid, you're curious. You're going out for a walk. You're lifting up a rock. You're turning over an old board to see what's underneath it. There's this curiosity to learn and to grow and to interact with our world. But the thing is that over time, we tend to be shunned for that curiosity, right? We have to be more like fit into a standard, right? And we kind of get pigeonholed into that. And even just, think about it. As a kid, sometimes you might be trying to be playful. You might be playing with guns. There comes a point where dressing up and playing cowboy Indian gets shunned and shamed on. And all of a sudden it's like, hey, aren't you a little old for that? It might be time to grow up. Okay. So our curiosity gets squashed. Now, how do we keep our curiosity that we lose when we transition into maybe the teens? How do we keep that characteristic, that trait? Because curiosity has its benefits. They are numerous. Let's talk about it. One of the most powerful strategies that you can implement to maintain curiosity and also maintain other traits. Like for me, I have a personal philosophy, which is always be curious, be kind, be creative. How do you develop a personal philosophy where you embody these values and you keep these values as something that's important and also something that you act and think and behave in alignment with? That is the key, because when something is your identity, it's all autopilot, right? So with me, I have this thing where I say, hey, I'm kind, curious, and creative. When you say I am, that's something that you truly believe you are, and you're always going to be thinking in alignment with it. So how do we develop this? So when we talk about personal philosophies, one of the easiest ways to develop a personal philosophy is to, 1, start by thinking about what 3 words are important to you. It doesn't have to be curiosity. It doesn't have to be kindness. It doesn't have to be creativeness. Those are just mine. And as a matter of fact, when I developed my personal philosophy, honest truth, it changed 50 times in the first 50 minutes. And even for the next couple of days, it kept changing and changing. Then all of a sudden, I know curiosity stuck for me. I know kindness did. The third one kind of changed and has still changed, and it can continue to change. But what I did is I sat down and I said, what are words that when I'm not feeling strong, when I'm feeling depressed, when I'm not feeling like I've got momentum in my life, I wanted to have a default mode, a default focus, if you will, for when I needed help, okay? And so if I ever have negative thought patterns, if I ever feel stressed, depressed, feel down and out, I always ask myself one simple question. How can I activate any of these personal values? In other words, how can I be creative, kind, or curious? And just that alone allows me to invite and ponder, and this prompt allows me to shift my focus, my energy and attention, my thoughts onto something different. Because the reason why we all become stressed and anxious is because we're placing way too much thought, energy, and attention on things that are causing that stress. And the more you do that, the more it expands. You keep thinking about it, it grows. Think about it again, it grows. You get a little emotional about it, ooh, it grows even more. Focus, energy, and attention on things grows. So if you want something to shrink and not be a big issue, all you need to do is focus elsewhere. And that's where these personal philosophies come in. And when we talk about time, let's cover time real quick. So time, I am sick and tired of hearing people say life is too short. Life isn't too short. Life was really short when we were Neanderthals because we probably didn't live until we were even 20. That was probably like a 90-year-old modern day times, right? And then even just 100 years ago, we'd lived to like maybe 40s. So time is growing for us. It's expanding. It's great. Don't use that excuse. Don't get caught up in the fact that there's not enough time. Just take that pressure off yourself by shifting your perspective and saying, break it down to daily tasks. What can I do today? Like just focus on today, because the more you think on death, or the more you think about 20 years from now, or, oh my God, like what have I not done? Let's say you reflect backwards and say, oh, I haven't done enough in the last 5 years. Okay, but that's what you did. And all in all, if you think too far into the past, you'll feel frustration. You might feel some anxiety, right? Some pressure, some worry. You focus on the future, definitely stress and anxiety come, but like move into the moment. Move into today and just say, hey, what levers can I pull today to either create my personal philosophy, relieve some stress, take a weight off my shoulders, off my mind? Focus on today. There's plenty of time today. If you sleep for 8 hours, you got 16 hours every single day. 16 hours to do what you want to do. That ain't enough? I call BS on that. All right, let's move into perspective. Oh my God, this is one of our favorites. This is one of the 3 superpowers of the vibe mindset, which perspective is everything, right? Think about it. A lot of us are concerned, let's say you're a business person. You're concerned that your business is too small. You've got 4 people working for you. Okay, it's too small. There are some people that are working by themselves and they have a 1-person business. So your business is 4 times bigger than theirs from a people standpoint. So is it really that small? Well, it's only that small when you shift your perspective and say, well, Dave down the street has got a 100-person business. Okay, well, when you have your perspective on comparing yourself to Dave, who's got 100 people, then 4 is small. But when you compare yourself to Wanda, if you have a friend named Wanda, that'd be pretty cool. I actually do have one. Tell her I said hi. But you focus your energy and attention on that one person. Now all of a sudden you're 4 times bigger than them. But the thing is this, none of it matters. What matters is you. If you compare, it's all ego-based, right? If you compare yourself to the one person, now all of a sudden you're 4 times bigger. Ha ha, look at all the money I'm making, look how great I am. Okay, then you shift your attention to the 100 person and now your ego's completely shifted. When you start comparing yourself to others, this shift in perspective and focus is going to initiate a change in the way that you feel. So what can we do with this? How do we manage our perspective? You always have to, in any given situation, ask yourself this: what are 3 perspectives I can have on this situation? And oftentimes what I love to do is one of the perspectives is your own. But then what you do is you go 2 different directions. You say, what is one perspective that's even worse than mine? Okay. And that actually invites a curiously interesting thought process where you start to realize that, wow, like it could be way worse. And that creates relief. And then you go the other way, which is, the opposite is, wow, maybe this isn't that bad. Maybe my company being 4 people is fine. I'm able to eat whenever I want, order what I want. I live in the house that I want. I have the family I want. Come on. Think about your perspective on things. Maybe it's time to start shifting it. Because if you don't like what's going on right now, shift your energy and attention and also challenge your perspective. 2 tools. These are things that you'll be working on today. By the way, everything I'm sharing with you today can change today, okay? The question is, are you gonna find the time in those 16 hours you've got to make that change? Time for a sip of the Red Bull. This is not sponsored by sugar-free Red Bull, but you should go get one. All right, number 3. So we've got 8 of these. Success in life. Well, here's what we're going to talk about. And this is huge. I just had an incident. I'm going to share this with you. Story happened yesterday, and it was so cool. When we talk about the balance between being content and having ambition, okay? Now, a lot of us want, okay? And it's great to want. You got to want something, or else you're not going to grow. You're not going to feel alive. Wanting is a good feeling. However, where wanting becomes an issue is when you want, but then you have the emotional reaction of failure or disappointment or frustration when you're reminded every day that what you want hasn't arrived. So let's say, for example, you want to lose 10 pounds, okay? You want to lose 10 pounds. Everyone wants to lose 10 pounds. Great, that's why I picked that. You want to lose 10 pounds, okay. Well, you know what to do. Eat right, move your body. Like, we all know what to do. But the reason why we don't do it is because oftentimes we wake up every day, and let's say we do take some actions for 1 or 2 or 3 days, okay? Well, the valley of disappointment is that we look around and we say, whoa, like, I'm looking in the mirror, I look the same. Maybe you make the mistake of getting on the scale, and maybe you didn't really change at all. Maybe even you took on some water, so now you actually weigh more. We're looking for this validation, this external validation that doesn't exist, okay? And so when we talk about wanting, that's a great thing to have, but you've got to be careful that while you want, you at the same time are content with what you have. Now, being content doesn't mean that you're settling, doesn't mean that things aren't ever going to change. It doesn't mean that you can't be happy. Matter of fact, it does mean you can be happy. And contentment starts with being grateful and feeling that gratitude. This is a big thing with Gary Vee, right? Gary Vee loves to talk about gratitude. And when you talk about Gary Vee's life advice for success and living the best life, he's always talking about gratitude, because that's the key, is you can want and desire, but that contentment is, hey, I want something more, but I'm also being completely grateful for what I have, okay? So how do we become more grateful and still move forward? Here's an action item for you. Every single evening before you go to sleep, you need to do what I call the evening receive. The evening receive is very simple. It says, I'm in bed, I'm about to go to sleep. Here I am about to go to sleep, where I can program my subconscious mind into marinating in whatever my final thought is, which is a super powerful technique, but we're not going to go into that today. But what is the final thought that I'm going to have before I go to sleep? And honestly, reflect on your day. Think about the things, the experiences. Oftentimes you want to focus not just on things. That's a fool's game. Focus on the emotional experiences you had throughout the day. If you met a friend, for example, for dinner, don't say, oh, I'm grateful we had a great meal. It's not the meal that you're grateful for. It's the interaction. It's the connection. It's the reflecting on the memories of the past, sharing some amazing stories. It's laughing, okay? This is what made that event and experience so powerful. So go back there, replay it, feel gratitude. Don't just say what you're grateful for. Feel gratitude. How do you feel gratitude? You go back in your mind and you replay and you imagine walking in the door, like when you hug that person, what that felt like. Like literally, I can feel tingles on the back of my head, like on my neck. Feel the gratitude. Feel. Gratitude, when you turn it into a thing or a thought and you turn it into an emotion, woohoo, that's some powerful stuff. And the way to do that is by replaying, using your imagination each and every day, the thing that gave you the most positive emotional experience throughout your day. All right. Oh, here is a huge one. God, I love this. Humility. This one you're not going to like because it's going to sound like I'm being aggressive towards you. But hey, if you like Gary Vee, you know he's aggressive. When we talk about humility, one of the key things you need to know today is you mean nothing. Did I just say that? You should click out of this video, right? I just told you mean nothing. Who says that? I do, and Gary Vee, and many other gurus in the past. Alan Watts, if you look him up, an amazing philosopher back in the day. And when you become, and even Ram Dass, when you become nothing or nobody, what happens is you don't have any stress because nothing matters, right? If you're worried about your business growing, if you're worried about how you look, if you're focused on all these things, and all it is ego. And if it's your ego you're trying to satisfy, your ego's never going to be satisfied. Never will it be satisfied, because that's what the ego does. It's insatiable. So what do we do with this piece of information? Well, start asking yourself, how important am I really? I realize myself, and this is not a diss, this is not a cut. I realize that if I died tomorrow, sure, my family would be sad, and sure, but when it's all said and done, it doesn't really matter. Now, there's two ways you can go with that. I feel relief from that. I feel like, oh my God, I can just enjoy today because I don't have to worry about tomorrow because I don't matter, right? And it's a very challenging concept for people to get, but the action item here is to start asking yourself, how much does it really matter? In other words, what's the value you place on yourself and on the things and experiences around you? If all of a sudden your car dies, like let's take it outside of you for a second. Your car dies. How much does it matter? How much is that car really worth? Now you want to give me like a financial number. Okay, yeah, fine. Give me a financial. It's $18,000. Okay, but what does it really matter? Because you're still alive. You're still going to eat. You're still going to sleep in a nice place tonight, comfortable. Like, chill out. How much meaning we give things determines our emotional response to them. The more meaning you place on things. For example, if you say, if I go to this job interview, God, I need to get to this job. Okay, you're placing all this importance, all this emotional value on something. You might be placing a $10,000 value on it. Okay, well, when you don't get that job, what happens next? The result ain't so good. It's not a positive emotional response to that. So manage the meaning that you place on things, manage the value you place on things. Addicted to affirmations. We are all addicted to affirmation, that external validation through likes, comments, shares, subscribers. Like on this YouTube channel right now, what do we have? 700 something subscribers, or maybe 6. I don't even know. Whatever it is, right? Oh my God, well, if I don't get to 1,000, maybe I shouldn't do this. Maybe what I'm doing is not helping anyone. I know what I'm doing is helping people. You've watched this long, you know that what I'm telling you has value. Whether I have 1 subscriber or 1 million, I trust in my process, I trust in my value, my intensity, my passion, which I know you can feel right now through this video. So it just, that's it. You know, honest truth is this. I don't need affirmations. I don't need external validation. If you want validation, do it from within. Confidence is built on that too. In other words, if you want to really have a great confidence building experience and really make affirmations internal, wake up in the morning and set an intention for what you want to feel, a feeling-based intention. How do I want to feel today? And then what you do is you take a tiny, small action that allows you to feel that feeling. If you do that every single day, you will feel validated. You will be affirmed that you created your day instead of became a victim to it. And you also build your confidence, because all confidence is saying you're going to do something and doing it. Set an intention in the morning before the action item for this, before your 2 feet hit the ground in the morning out of bed. Set an intention for how you want to feel. Spend 30 seconds on it. Well, you don't have 30 seconds? Spend a minute. You don't have a minute? You do. Spend that time trying to figure out, what do I want to feel? Not a to-do list. People make the mistake, oh, well, I want to make sure I get the lawn mowed today. I don't care about your to-do list. That's up to you. I'm talking about a to-feel list. Now, if you did want to mow the lawn, a better way to look at that would say, I want to feel accomplished today. Because guess what? That feeling can be had in many other ways. I want to feel accomplished by mowing the lawn. Okay, fine. I want to feel accomplished by cooking a healthy meal. That's easy. I want to feel accomplished by paying 4 bills. That's easy. But it's the feeling we do want more than anything, right? You know, paying the bills might be the outcome that we want, or the process of it, but really what we want is the outcome, which is the feeling. We all do things for a feeling. When you buy a house, you do it because you want to feel like you have a home. When you buy an overpriced sports car like I did, I wanted to feel like I made it. We do everything for the end goal of a feeling. So set an intention for feelings that you want to experience throughout the day, and then go out and feel them. That will build confidence. That you will not need any external affirmations from, because you'll get them all internally. All right, how do you define success? Gary Vee brought this up in a recent talk that he did in Edmonton, Canada. Okay? Oh, I even developed like a little Canadian accent. Edmonton, Canada. Is that even a Canadian accent? Either way, define success. What is success to you? You know, Is success that you have to grow your company 5% every year? Is success whether you live in a $200,000 house or a $400,000 house? Is success whether you're married or not? Is success whether your kids go to college or not? What are you buying into? What are you buying into? You're buying into, oftentimes, the definition of success from everyone outside of you. The world, society. The world and society right now, there's plenty of stressed people and there's plenty of depressed and miserable people, okay? There's plenty of good people too, don't get me wrong. But those people that don't feel the way they want to feel, and that could be me, it could be you, right? Oftentimes it's because our definition of success sucks. It just sucks. If you want to redefine your life, redefine how you define success. If success for you is to be content, to be kind, to be curious every day, to make every day count, to explore new things, this is an easy way to win. To do something kind for one person a day. Say something kind to a stranger. And this can change every day. Redefine success, you'll redefine your life. Action item there. Sit down today and say one thing. What can I do? What is my definition of success currently, and what should it become? And then start dismantling your past definition and start enabling and empowering and focusing on your new definition. That's it. All right, we got 3 more or 2 more. I don't know, I can't count. All right, how we doing? In the comments below, tell me what you're going to change. Number 6. Gary Vee recently said this. He said, we all need to hang out with 90-year-olds more often. And he said that the reason, I can't even see this, it doesn't matter, yeah, self-worth. So the reason why we do this is because 90-year-olds don't know if tomorrow is going to come, right? And this ties into what we said earlier. And when you don't know if tomorrow is going to come, what happens is you don't start to stress. You don't start to worry because whether tomorrow comes or not, you can't control it. You know, and when you hang out with 90-year-olds like I did, I learned one thing. And a matter of fact, I'm going to share this story with you. I used to work in nursing homes. I'm an optometrist. And I went into these nursing homes, and I remember I used to always ask 2 questions. I would always ask, one, what is one short, easy thing I need to know about life? What do I need to do so that when I'm your age, I'm happy? And by far, number 1, there wasn't even a close second, was no regrets. No regrets. If you want to do something, do it. You want to take a chance, do it. Because when you get to my age, 82, 85, 90, 102, you can't do those things. You know, you want to become a runner? Go become a runner. You want to become a writer? Go become a writer. Because when you get older, you don't have the ability. Right now, you have the gift. The gift is that you can do whatever you want today. If you can walk and you can talk and you can take action, anything that you want to do is just waiting for you to do it. So 1 is no regrets. Number 2, I said, what do I also need to know about about relationships? You know, like how do I keep relationships with people alive and vibrant? And they said, compromise. So the 2 biggest words I learned from 90 to 100-year-olds, 80 to 100-year-olds was no regrets and compromise. You know, and one guy, I remember saying this, he goes, my best piece of advice is if you want to go out for an Italian dinner, and your wife wants Mexican, well, there's good Mexican food. Why wouldn't you just go there? You know, and I'm like, yeah, I guess, you know, and it's like, all right, well, I want this. Okay, but just compromise. Just meet halfway. Just see things through someone else's eyes, someone else's perspective. All right, 2 more. Semantics make us anxious. Okay. So what's interesting is, and this ties into just the meaning we place on things, is what does it all mean? Like when you pick a word, like what does it mean? The meaning you give things is everything. Now, here is an actionable tip that I love. I call it reappraisal. So let's say, for example, something happened in your past that's been weighing on your shoulders, weighing on your mind. How do you decrease your attachment to the emotions of your past so you can let go and move forward? Reappraisal. If you are attached to an event or experience that happened yesterday, last week, a month ago, or 17 years ago, the only reason you're still emotionally attached to it and your thoughts and feelings and even sometimes who you are is so tied to it is because the emotional value you've given it. So think about it like a true dollar amount, right? If something really bothers you, it's because you overvalued it. And so let's say, for example, something really bad happened at work last week. Okay. If it's really bothering you, let's just say for argument's sake, to put things into perspective, you gave it a value of $25,000. Doesn't matter. You don't have to be accurate about this, but $25,000. Okay. So if you want to decrease your attachment and let go from that, you need to reappraise it. So what you do is you revisit it and say, how much does this really matter? And then you start to reflect on your ego and say, hey, is my ego getting tied into this? Could I shift my perspective? Can I imagine that there might be something positive to come from this? There's so many different ways to play it where what you're essentially doing is you're challenging the value of 25,000 and you're trying to bring it down to 500. And the way to bring it down 500 is just what I said. Look at it from a different perspective. Look at it and say, how much will this matter in 5 years? How much does this really matter? Is the emotional value that I placed on this of 25,000 a little bit too high? Once you go back and you reappraise the emotional value placed on things, it decreases and oftentimes will break your attachment, your emotional attachment to those things, take that weight off your shoulders, off your mind, and allow you to move forward. That is the trick to letting go. And I will tell you this, working with professional athletes, the art and skill of letting go is one of the most critical skills that we need to learn, because guess what? When you're at work, you got time to think about letting go. But when you're an athlete and you're in the middle of competition, you better let go fast. So that is one of the top 3 skills that I coach with high performance mindset coaching. And I'm telling you, it's a skill for you to master. And when you get good at it, life changes. The art and skill of letting go. And don't forget, humility is a superpower. Humility is a superpower. The less you matter and the more humility you have, the easier life gets. And, here's another thing too. And then we've got one more, and then we'll be all set here. Is when we think about it, let me make sure I say this the right way. If you're not important, your results don't matter. If you're not important, your results don't matter. The reason why we get stressed and anxious and is looking forward into the future, looking for these results, these outcomes. Outcomes are what cause stress, anxiety, procrastination, pressure, okay? Is I want this outcome. God, I really wanted my business to grow by this amount this year. I really wanted to find true love by February 14th so I could have the best, Valentine's Day. Okay. When you start to really say to yourself, hey, you know what? The results don't matter. Now all of a sudden, you free yourself up. You allow yourself to relax. You're not stressed. You don't have all this anxiety around an outcome because it doesn't matter. It's the process you use to get there. If you don't get to your outcome, shift your process. And also, oftentimes, if you look at your process, you'll see that there are opportunities to fine tune, like a radio. We're going to tune this a little bit. Let's tune this down. Let's dim this down, but let's raise this up. Work on the process, okay? Finally, and I want you afterwards, after I give you this final one, I want you to tell me which one of these tips, let's hold some accountability here. Which one of these tips and actionable items will you put into action? Tell me below and commit to it. Commit to it. And don't forget to like and subscribe. All right, gratitude. We talked about it, but gratitude and other people's opinions. Make sure, I'm gonna wrap it up with this. Make sure you feel gratitude, don't just think gratitude. Don't feel gratitude for things, feel gratitude for experiences. Don't worry about other people's opinions because they don't matter. Your opinion doesn't matter. No one's opinion matters. What matters is you making change by taking action on the items in this video. Think for a moment. Instead of scrolling to the next video, sit there for a moment and say, hey, maybe I should watch this again and take notes. That's what I did. I watched one of GaryVee's videos and I didn't take notes the first time and I said, wow, there's so much value in that. I'm gonna go back and put some time into that and write down some notes. Write down some notes. Watch this video again. Share it with a friend. Say, hey, I've got a challenge for you. How about we both find something and hold each other accountable? Share this video with a friend. Try that. Do something different. Think from a different perspective. Use your imagination to start imagining a better life and what that would look like and what that would feel like and what process you can implement to get there. And that starts with habit change, right? And so start with some gratitude, take some action, hold yourself accountable in the comment section below. Gary Vee is great, but Gary Vee's advice doesn't mean shit if you don't make changes and take action to live your best life and turn his insights and motivation into real change in your life. My name is Dr. Jake Kavanaugh. I'm a high-performance mindset coach. Thank you for your time. Check out thevibemindset.com. Get on our email list. We've actually got some really cool tools and resources there. If you want to check out any of our other videos, we've got 2 videos here for you to check out. Thank you so very much for your time and your attention. Go get it.